The world is keeping an eye on the coronavirus that originated in Wuhan, China and spread fast across the world, alarming health officials across the world. As of January 31, a total of 9,776 cases of the coronavirus have been reported in around 22 countries. 9,658 of these cases are in mainland China and 120 cases outside China. Here is a list of the countries that have reported confirmed cases of the virus so far. 1. The UK. The UK Department of Health and Social Care confirmed 2 coronavirus cases on 31st January. The 2 patients are members of the same family and currently undergoing specialist care under the National Health Service. It is still unknown how many people have come in contact with the infected patients. 2. Italy. Italy confirmed 2 coronavirus cases on January 30, 2020. The 2 patients are Chinese tourists who arrived in Rome. They are currently placed under isolation in Rome's Spallanzani Institute. Italy has cancelled all direct flights to China. 3. India. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare of India confirmed the first case of coronavirus on January 30, 2020. A student who arrived in Kerala from Wuhan has tested positive for the virus. He is currently being monitored and is said to be in a stable condition. India has more than 670 suspected cases of the coronavirus infection, the highest being in Kerala, at 633 as of 29 January. 3 cases have been reported in Delhi, 16 in Punjab, 6 in Haryana, 1 in Patna, Bihar, 6 in Maharashtra, 4 in Hyderabad, 4 in Bengaluru, Karnataka, and 1 in Rajasthan. 4. Philippines. The first case of coronavirus infection in the Philippines was confirmed on January 30, 2020. A 38-year-old Chinese woman from Wuhan tested positive for the virus and is currently undergoing treatment at a government hospital. The Philippines reported a total of 27 suspected cases. 5. Finland. Finland confirmed its first case of the coronavirus infection on January 29, 2020. The patient is a 32-year-old female Chinese tourist from Wuhan. She is currently being treated at the Lapland Central Hospital in northern Finland. Another 15 persons may have been infected. 6. The UAE. A total of 4 confirmed coronavirus cases have been reported in the United Arab Emirates. The first case was confirmed on January 29, 2020 in a family, which arrived from Wuhan. The remaining 3 members of the family were later confirmed to have contracted the infection. 7. Germany. A total of 4 confirmed cases of the coronavirus infection have been reported in Germany on January 28, 2020. The male patient living near Munich did not travel to China but had a meeting with a Chinese national and is reportedly in stable condition. 3 new cases of coronavirus infection were reported on January 29, 2020. The new patients are employees of the same company where the first confirmed case was reported. They are currently being treated in isolation at a hospital in Munich. All the confirmed cases are reported to have contracted the disease from the Chinese national who visited their company but did not know that she was infected. 8. Sri Lanka. One confirmed case of coronavirus infection has been reported in Sri Lanka on January 27, 2020. The patient, a 40-year-old Chinese woman, tested positive for the virus. Sri Lanka has since taken preventive measures to contain the spread of the virus, including suspension of granting of on-arrival visa for Chinese travelers. Sri Lanka is also in the process of evacuating more than 200 students studying in China. All arriving students will be placed under quarantine. 9. Cambodia. Cambodia reported the first case of the coronavirus infection on January 27, 2020. The patient is a 60-year-old man from Wuhan who traveled to Cambodia. He arrived in the country along with 3 family members who have tested negative for the virus. The patient is reported to be in a stable condition. 10. Canada. 3 confirmed cases have been reported in Canada. The first case of coronavirus infection was reported on January 25, 2020 by the government of Ontario in a man who visited Wuhan. The second case was that of the patient wife and confirmed of having the infection on January 27, 2020. On January 28, 2020, a third case was confirmed by the government of British Columbia in a patient who visited the city of Wuhan. 11. Malaysia. Malaysia reported 8 confirmed cases of coronavirus, with the first case reported on January 25, 2020. One of the first cases reported was that of a 40-year-old man from Wuhan who was traveling to Johor with a group 17 Chinese nationals. 3 new cases of the infection were reported on January 29, 2020. The new cases include a close contact case who is the daughter-in-law of the one one first patient who tested positive for the infection. The other 2 cases are of a 4-year-old girl and a 52-year-old man. 12. Australia. Australia has reported 9 confirmed cases of the coronavirus infection, including 4 in Sydney and 1 in Melbourne. The first case of the infection was confirmed on January 25, 2020, as a man who travelled from Guangzhou to Melbourne. On January 29, 2020, 2 new cases of the infection were reported, including 1 Queensland and another in Victoria. The new case is a 44-year-old man who travelled to Queensland from Wuhan. The patient is currently undergoing treatment and reported to be stable. 13. Nepal. The first coronavirus infection case was confirmed by Nepal Ministry of Health and Population on January 25, 2020, as a male student studying in China. 2 more suspected cases have been reported in a man and woman who are currently being tested for the virus. Both the patients have been placed under isolation. 14. France. A total of 5 confirmed coronavirus cases have been reported in France as of January 29, 2020. France was the first European country to report 2 coronavirus cases on January 24, 2020. A third case, confirmed on January 25, 2020, was that of a relative of one of the confirmed cases. The 3 patients contracted the virus during their stay in China, according to France's Ministry of Solidarity and Health. 2 of the patients are being treated in Paris while the other is undergoing treatment in Bordeaux. The 4th case was confirmed on January 29, 2020. The new case is an elderly Chinese tourist from the Hubei province. The daughter of the 4th patient has been identified as the 5th confirmed case in France. 15. Vietnam. 2 confirmed cases of coronavirus infection have been reported in Vietnam. The first confirmed case was reported on January 23, 2020, as a Chinese man who traveled to Wuhan. His son later contracted the infection but is reported to have been cured, although the father is still on oxygen support due to a lung injury. 16. Singapore. A total of 10 confirmed cases have been reported by the Ministry of Health in Singapore. The first confirmed case of the disease was reported on January 23, 2020, as a 53-year-old female Chinese national from Wuhan. The latest cases are of a 56-year-old male from China who arrived in Singapore with his family. The second case is of a 35-year-old male also from Wuhan, China, who arrived with friends and family. 17. Hong Kong. The confirmed cases in Hong Kong increased to 12 as of January 30, 2020. The first case in the country was reported on January 23, 2020. The country has declared a state of emergency and is implementing strict measures to contain the spread of the virus. It has closed some of its borders with mainland China and imposed travel restrictions on Chinese tourists. 18. Macau. The first case of coronavirus in Macau was reported on January 22, 2020. A total of 7 coronavirus cases have been reported, including 3 new cases of 3 female patients who are Wuhan residents. The government has announced the closure of schools and universities in addition to imposing border controls to stop the spread of the disease. 19. Taiwan. Taiwan reported the first case of the coronavirus infection on January 21, 2020. 9 cases of coronavirus infection have been reported by the Taiwan Centers of Disease Control. The confirmed cases include 2 70-year-old Chinese women who worked in Wuhan. The latest case is a contact of a previously confirmed case of infection. 20. The United States. The U.S. has reported 6 confirmed cases of the coronavirus infection. The first case of the infection was reported in Washington on January 21, 2020, as a person who traveled to Wuhan and returned to the U.S. A second case was reported in Illinois in another person who traveled to Wuhan. The states with confirmed cases of the infection are Arizona, California, Illinois, and Washington. A total of 165 suspected cases of the infection have been reported in the U.S., of which 68 turned out to be negative and results are awaited for 92. All cases are reported to be imported cases and no person-to-person transmission has been recorded in the country. 21. Republic of Korea. The Republic of Korea reported the first case of coronavirus in a 35-year-old woman residing in Wuhan who traveled to the country on January 20, 2020. 6 confirmed cases of coronavirus have so far been reported in the country. A total of 28 potential cases are currently being monitored accordingly according to the latest reports. 22. Japan. Japan was the second country to report a coronavirus infection outside of China in a man who traveled to Wuhan. The first case was reported on January 16, 2020. A total of 11 confirmed cases have been reported in the country. The latest 3 cases are from a group of more than 200 Japanese nationals who have been evacuated from Wuhan. 23. Thailand. The first imported case of the coronavirus was confirmed in a 61-year woman by the Thailand Ministry of Public Health on January 13, 2020. The woman traveled to Wuhan, along with 5 members and a tour group of 16 people. A total of 14 confirmed cases have been reported in the country. Out of the 14 cases, 4 Chinese nationals and 1 Thai resident have reportedly been cured. The other 9 are Chinese patients currently undergoing treatment. 24. Russia. Russia reported its first 2 cases of coronavirus on January 31, and said that the infected people were Chinese citizens who had been quarantined. The 2 cases were discovered in different parts of the country, one in Uman region in West Siberia, the other in Russia's Far East. Deputy Prime Minister Tatiana Galikova said. Suspected cases. The first suspected coronavirus case in Botswana was registered on 30th January, announced the Ministry of Health and Wellness on 31st January. The suspect arrived in an Ethiopian Airways flight from China and is isolated and being investigated. While Myanmar reported the first suspected coronavirus case of a Chinese visitor on 31st January. The visitor arrived in Yangon on a China Southern Airlines flight from Guangzhou. New Zealand reported its first suspected case of the coronavirus infection on 31st January. The case is currently being investigated and test results are expected on 1st February. The patient has been placed under isolation at the Auckland City Hospital, and the Maldives witnessed the first suspected coronavirus case on 30th January in a male who arrived from Xiamen, China. In Africa, coronavirus suspects are on the rise, with the virus now suspected to have reached Equatorial Guinea through travelers from Beijing, were reported on January 30, 2020. 4 suspects that have symptoms of the virus have been quarantined. Sudan and another African country that reported 2 suspected cases of coronavirus infection on 29 January. The 2 patients, a man and a woman, had recently visited Wuhan. Both the patients are currently under medical observation. Angola also reported the first suspected coronavirus case on 29 January. The suspected is a Chinese citizen currently under observation. 9 suspected cases of the virus have been reported in Brazil so far. One of the 3 initial suspects is a patient currently admitted in a hospital. All the initial 3 have a travel history to the affected areas in China in the last 14 days and have respiratory symptoms associated with the virus. Pakistan is yet another country with suspected coronavirus cases. The number of coronavirus suspects in the country has risen to 7, from the initial 5, as of 30 January. In the Ivory Coast, 1 suspected case of coronavirus infection was reported on January 26, 2020. The patient, a 34-year-old female student, arrived from Beijing to Abidjan in the Ivory Coast. She is currently placed under isolation and is said to be in a stable condition. Colombia recorded its first suspected case of the coronavirus infection on January 27, 2020. A male passenger arrived in Cali from China passing through Spain and the U.S. The patient showed symptoms such as fever and respiratory troubles. He has been placed in isolation. And in Indonesia, a total of 8 suspected cases of coronavirus infection have been reported across the country. The cases are being investigated and have been placed under observation at various hospitals. Thank you for watching.